Not all research has a happy ending. We were to go onto the Muse database this week and look for an area of interest that we were considering for our dissertations or other things. And I looked up Daniel Boone. Unfortunately, the only things available there were articles about other things like biographies or something else. So, or actual biography books written for juvenile readers, which is fine because that happens to be the area that I write for with my books. The thing is, so the research ended up taking a slightly different turn, and I looked at Linda Gerard's article, Serious Thinking in the Art of Biography. Her article showed the dearth of decent biography writers for children, how the biographies written for children so often were done in series, such as Great Women or Great Minorities, or, well, as some of us have read when we were younger, the Missionaries series. And with those series, there come a lot of strictures and things that the authors have to conform to keep it to a certain formula, which tends to stifle the work itself. And a lot of times, also, the editors of the series or the publishers dictating to the editors change the author's work after it leaves the author's hands. And so the end product ends up being stilted and conflicting with itself and with its own style. One interesting thing about the Boones that I did find in this article that I was unaware of was that, I'm probably going to have to go to a historical society or something to find this information actually out. But the in one of the children's books that she was quoting, it had said that Daniel Boone, that his daughter Jemima was actually not his daughter, but that she was adopted, which that's pretty good. The way that it was presented, I don't know that I would have presented it that way in a children's book. However, that does merit further looking into. Additionally, I then found absolutely nothing else on Jemima Boone in that database. I did look. And so that's what ended up happening. It got me curious about her. So then we ended up going over to ProQuest and found an article by Jeffrey Hansen called Ethnicity in the Looking Glass. This article had a mention of another incident in Jemima Boone's life that was the incident of her kidnapping and rescue by her father. She and some other girls apparently had been kidnapped and by some Indians and then rescued by Daniel Boone and possibly others. I'm not sure. You can't seem to find this information anywhere. However, I did look up the paintings, which the author said were romanticized. And yes, they quite possibly are romanticized. I'm pretty sure those were Plains Indians depicted in those paintings, or at least a couple of them. But they were pretty well done, and they did inspire feeling and research and looking into what was really going on at the time. What was the complex issue behind this kidnapping, and how was the rescue secured? The next place I went was EBSCOhost, which had absolutely literally nothing. Then I went to search anything in the Jerry Falwell Library. I found a few of those juvenile biographies again. But as far as articles went, I didn't really find anything on Jemima Boone. I'm kind of wondering about that, as much has been focused on women's studies lately, that there was nothing really about her. There was a mention in Captives, Captains, Cowboys, and Indians by John Silve. He mentioned the kidnapping and setting free of Jemima and the other girls by Daniel Boone, and how Daniel Boone was later used as a political tool to show the frontier coming to civilized politics, which was kind of strange. I'm not really sure about that. I need to look a little bit more into it. Anyway, the whole thing is that as historians, a lot of us are going to be doing biographical works. We need to make sure that those works are accessible. We need to make sure that they're appropriate to our age, to our audience that we are telling these things to. We don't want to over glamorize, but we also don't want to over negativize, for lack of a better word. There's nothing wrong with someone actually having been heroic. We don't need to hold these historical characters up to standards as if they were gods and aren't allowed mistakes. Remember the time that they're living in. Remember that issues are complex. And further research, yes, absolutely. This is probably going to take a while. Anyways, I hope that you guys have happy researching and a very happy weekend. Thanks a lot. Bye.